Doing some polling, haven't you? What are you hearing so far about what we think of Liz Truss?
So over the past 10 weeks, we've been going around the country talking to the public about what they thought of the two candidates. And the good news for Liz Truss is that people really like the fact that she's quite straightforward. When she said in that debate, "I'm not the slickest candidate," that actually went down really well with the public. And what they would often say back to us in focus groups is she actually answers the question, unlike lots of politicians.
A lot of the campaign went by without getting answers to that many questions.
But there were the debates, there were the hustings going on as well. And people, when we played clips in focus groups, they really liked the way she interacted. Actually, what was interesting was some of the stuff that Westminster commentators like, sort of Rishi Sunak's very polished style, didn't really resonate with the public. And I think that's because they're not looking for a Blair 2.0 now. The big thing for them, and this is where the challenge comes, is that they want someone who, when it comes to the cost of living, gets it, and they need to show that they get it quickly.
Well, if there's a freeze on energy prices, as I say, that feels like a game changer. We haven't got it yet. Let's see how that plays when it comes. In the meantime, the outgoing Prime Minister left, frankly, drummed out of office over questions of integrity. What about Liz Truss? How does she score for honesty and integrity?
So people want to give her the benefit of the doubt. They want her to succeed. The truth is that actually, and again, those of us in Westminster who have sort of followed people's every sort of career move assume the public are like that as well. Actually, for lots of the public, when she comes into Downing Street tomorrow, that'll be the first time that they actually get a really good look at her. And as I say, there is a genuine will for her to succeed. And I spoke to voters in Doncaster last week. I said to them, what would be your one bit of advice? What could she do for you? And one woman summed it up when she said, "I just want her to dispel the fear about what's coming this winter." That is the test. That is going to be the one thing which defines
quite a big one.
This. It's going to define this government. She does that, shows the public she's on her side. Actually, I think she's going to defy lots of expectations. Failed to meet that test, and I don't think the public will be very forgiving.
There comes a point in the life of a government when the mood starts to take hold that it's time for a change. Are we there?
I don't think we are there at the moment, because obviously, when you look at political contests, they're not just one-sided. What's interesting is, when you talk about Keir Starmer with people, is he certainly does better than Jeremy Corbyn, and people will often say that in focus groups, but it's quite clear that he hasn't yet sealed the deal, particularly when we go to those red wall areas. People sort of saying, oh, but is he really for me? Does he really get it? Now, that's not to say that he couldn't get it, and, his policies on energy are proving quite popular with the public, but he hasn't made the case. So we're not yet in that sort of 92, 97 period.
Right, and we are now looking at a new government which has got, in some ways, a mission full of contradictions. How to hang on to the red wall and do that without losing the blue wall. Contesting with the Liberal Democrats in the south and crudely with the Labour Party in the north, often wanted to hear quite different things.
I think that's one of the real challenges, actually, is that you've got this Tory coalition. I mean, it was quite a feat of Boris Johnson in 2019 to stitch together this coalition. And what's interesting is, in that coalition, you've got these red wall voters who are quite socially conservative, but actually on the economy more interventionist. And then you've got these blue wall voters, sort of in the home counties and outside, who are perhaps your more typical sort of Cameronite Tories, but actually they don't like some of the sort of more culture war-y stuff. And so treading that plank will be quite difficult for the new government, difficult for any government. But again, the number one issue across red wall, blue wall, everyone we speak to, in a focus group now, people just want to talk about cost of living, and that is going to be the metric by which they judge this government.
Who would want to be Liz Truss right now? Well, actually, for one, Liz Truss is quite happy.